Hey YouTube, it is 3 a.m. and I want to talk about something that happened today. On Thursday, like I said in a lot in my one of my previous videos, uh, because I showed it to one kid who I think is my friend. Quite frankly, I'm not really sure. He might just not really understand what uh, boundaries as far as spreading media are, like what videos you just show friends, and then just because you made a video and you showed your friend a video doesn't mean you want the friend to make it a viral video. But either way, my channel has become, I wouldn't say popular because that implies that it's personally liked, and actually it's quite the opposite. Ever since this happened, a large amount of trolls have appeared on my channel, which because they carry personal information, I'm assuming are school children who feel the need to spread my personal information that I discreetly have said I don't want out, that I have distinctly said I don't want out there. Um, but anyway, uh, so I ended up arguing with this boy on who sat across from me in Spanish. Apparently, one of his friends showed him my I Have a Secret video, and of course his first question was, well, you don't actually believe you're God, right? And when I explained to him that this was a joke, uh, his uh, he said that he was offended by this and repeatedly uh, used this colorful phrasing of an argument I've actually heard very frequently from religious moderates. Uh, but anyway, how he worded it was, "Don't take a shit on my religion," and for following up with, "I don't take a shit on your religion or your beliefs." Uh, I hear this argument more than you'd expect, because normally you don't expect religious moderates to be arguing with you, but the fact is that when they are kind of forced to have to think, but the fact is that when there is a situation like this where there is someone talking about why their beliefs aren't accurate, um, even if they're not like talking to them to their face, they kind of have to think about whether they actually believe, whether what they believe holds water, what arguments they can make for their beliefs, how they can refute mine. Um, and they, uh, so they do in fact tend to argue with you. Now, the main problem with this "don't shit on my uh, religion" uh, phrasing is, or I guess I could call it an argument. It's a bad argument. I'm about to explain why, but I guess I could call it an argument. Um, the main problem with this is that the general idea is that by arguing with your beliefs, I am automatically being disrespectful to your beliefs. And I agree, disrespect is bad, respect is good, but you're abusing where you draw the line of offense again. That most religious moderates I've heard using this argument uh, take this opportunity to make a blanket statement that any level of criticism about what they believe, or investigation of the value of what they believe, is considered disrespectful, or sharing your findings of this, more specifically, is disrespectful. And where the argument really fails is that whenever you hear this, don't be disrespectful to my beliefs, there's always, they always, like, not only imply it, but verbalize the other half of the argument that's their main argument, that they don't disrespect my beliefs. And where this argument really fails is that they're expecting that I would appreciate that they are disrespect, that they are respectful of my beliefs. And from what I hear, almost every other atheist on the internet, quite frankly, the answer to that is no. We put our beliefs out here because we are actually trying to, because we are actually either trying to prove that the beliefs are not accurate, but if we hear a good argument for theism, finally, we will say, okay, I guess you're right. And that's why we're all out here. Because we either want, because we're not just trying to, like, argue it for, to generally back our claims no matter what. I guess maybe some of us are. I mean, there are assholes in every group. But, at least for me, no. When you say, uh, you know, but don't you appreciate that I don't disrespect your beliefs? My answer is no. And my being out here on YouTube really is just a non-verbal way of me saying, here I am, internet, please be disrespectful of my beliefs. Please criticize them aggressively. Like, berate me with all the logical fallacies that I have committed in my argument. And from realizing and from really analyzing this kind of argument, it doesn't take many mental steps to realize that what this argument really boils down to is, I'm not an apologist. I'm not an apologist. I'll let you believe what you believe because I want to keep believing what I believe. And the fact that you're arguing with me makes me think about it. And then I start losing, so just shut up and let me keep on living in happy land of fantasy and stuff. And I was trying to investigate on the internet what other people thought about the ethics of, because I do believe that morality, that's in subjective morality, or secular morality, one of the most utmost you can get with right and wrong is really just hurts and helps yourself. And, I know, like, compassion and stuff, but really, I honestly believe that the only reason people are nice to people, just from my own personal experiences, of course, I've never been in someone else's head, people are only really good to each other because some part of it benefits them, even if it's just the fact that they feel good for donating $1 to UNICEF. I mean, you look at those charities and you can easily tell that really the idea of those is to make you feel bad for not donating, and that implies that they kind of understand that that most people do think in terms of the empathetic version of personal benefit and personal interest. But I digress. Anyway, but ignoring whether or not I should, in fact, really just let you stop thinking it, because, alright, maybe you aren't hurting other people, but the fact is that you have yet to explain why your beliefs hold water. And really, mainly, it just upsets me for this context. Because the school I go to is, first of all, an optional school to go to, which means that they chose to somewhat accept this philosophy when they joined, when they signed up or enrolled. But the philosophy of our school, my school, and the school that I had this argument with this kid, um, is entrenched in the concept that you have to justify as best you possibly can every assertion that you make. English, we have to evaluate rhetorical situations and try to prove with the actual text from the piece of literature why we think this about the characters, why we think they are behaving this way because of this. Math, we have to go step by step and say this, not only this is the steps we took, but on each line also here are the reasons for why we took that step. History, I'm sure any of you who have Ms. G know that it's almost to an aggravating degree how much you have to prove that your two topics are related, and yet on Sunday morning, all these bright children that are supposed to be our future abandon that philosophy and instead just start going with what feels right. That they don't have to justify their beliefs. Well, even if it doesn't hurt anyone, which by the way was part of the kid's argument. I'm running out of time here, so I'm not going to go into it. This is my second take. So I don't want to mess it up. But even if it's not hurting anyone, to be a rational person, you can't just throw away your responsibilities to justify your claims for this one thing. It's the same thing with the unicorns and the leprechauns that the atheists are always talking about. You have to justify what you believe. And that's fine if you don't want to, but really, if you don't want to either investigate or just stop believing. I mean, like I said, I'm running out of time. I might go into this later. But the thing I've noticed is that for a while I did try to believe in God, really just because I wanted it, but ultimately it just boiled down to I have an imaginary friend, and therefore it's not real. Like I said, I'll go into that later. But once you take away the belief that God exists in this physical reality, that comfort blanket that you like to hold on to goes away. And I know it's scary, but reality is scary. I guess that's really my point of this. And once again, the whole thing about how this disrespect argument fails. Just don't make an exception for religion with your philosophy on how justified something needs to be to assert it. And this is a message to any religious moderate who happens to go to my school and is watching this right now. Alright, I'm only have 30 more seconds before this kills me. I have to sign off. But thanks for watching, and please try to think about what I said. Bye.